David Hall's here.
Hello.
From, what is the new name?
Lifestyle Real Estate. It's a realty team under Royal LePage Real City Realty.
Love it. Thanks for doing this. This is I'm in a Car episode number 27, I believe.
27. I'm hurt that I wasn't number 1, but...
Well, you were in the first list.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's just a matter of scheduling conflicts.
That could be. I'll accept that.
Okay, awesome. But no, seriously, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Or take a drive and just have a little talk. But maybe before we get into it, you can give us a little synopsis of kind of what you've been up to, where you came from, and what you're doing now.
Yeah, okay. Well, now I'm a realtor with Royal LePage. I lead a team. We have a group of 5 agents, and that's relatively new. I just started the team there this year.
Yeah.
It's a second career for me. I've been in real estate now for 10 years. Prior to that, I was a partner in a business. I'd been there 20-something years. Joined the company as employee number 5. We grew the business. I ended up buying in. And then by the time we left, we had 100 employees and 100 sales reps across the nation. And it was a classic example of a company growing past you, because I've just been a sales guy my whole life. I like to do belly to belly, making the deals, and when a company gets that size, you're dealing with HR issues and just
policy.
Stuff. Yeah, and it just become very bureaucratic.
Yeah.
And I woke up one day and said, man, I just don't like going to work anymore, and that's very sad. I've always said my whole life, if you don't like what you do, make a change, because we spend too much time at the office or at your job.
Right.
And then one day I realized I don't like what I do anymore. And went home and braced myself to have a challenging chat with my bride. And she says, oh, thank goodness. Like, you've been miserable for 2 years. So then it was a case of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I did career counseling and all sorts of stuff to come up with what I was going to do. And that was kind of a funny story, because real estate was one of the careers that they said that people with my personality have done well in it.
Right.
It didn't have to do with your skill sets or your education. It was really, I'm going to fire here. It was really just your personality-wise. Right. So when we went through that process, my job then was to go out and research these different industries and to see what I might be interested in. And I've never been one to do things little, so I just started taking courses. And one course led to another, and one day I had my license. I think I made my decision.
I think I'm a realtor.
It hadn't been a conscious, I'm choosing this over this, because I was still looking at the other industries they had suggested as well.
Right.
And but one day I had my license, and I was like, I guess this is where I'm going. So yeah, I'm about 10 years at it, and doing okay, putting food on the table. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So where were you when you were running the business that went up to 100 people?
Well, it was originally from Cambridge, and which is where it still is. I mean, it's been sold now and long gone. But then I ended up moving down to the States. I was down in Virginia Beach, Virginia, for 12 years.
Wow.
And we'd moved down there to get the U.S. market opened up.
Virginia Beach, that's a nice place to do some work.
It's not a bad place to be if you have to live in the U.S. 9/11 changed things a lot, though, and Virginia is very big military base. It's kind of like Virginia Beach to Norfolk is like what Kitchener is to Waterloo. They're virtually combined, and Norfolk is the U.S.'s largest naval base. So
right.
When you lived in Virginia Beach, everybody either had family or had friends who was in the military.
Right.
And after 9/11, it just got very weird. So it was only a couple years after that I made the decision to go back to Canada. Yeah, and then a couple years after I was home, when I decided, it's time to do something different.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I haven't looked back. I've loved every minute of it. It was kind of interesting. About a year after I made the change, I got a call by an old friend in the industry, not in our company or our product, but the industry. And it was a U.S. company, and they were looking to set up a Canadian division. And basically, it was on the table. So, you take this. You're gonna run it. You're gonna build the factory, hire the people. You'll be the Canadian guy. And it was, while it was flattering, it was also very cool to look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, yeah, not interested. I'm really happy doing what I'm doing, and I don't have all those headaches of all those extra people. Yeah. Now, since then, I've grown a team and suddenly have staff and stuff again. So I've turned around and done what I ran away from in the past, but on a slightly smaller scale. So
yeah. No, that's okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 people is much different than 100 plus.
Yeah.
So with the 100 plus then, and I mean a lot of people that kind of have watched this and mentioned that they've love watching the episodes. They're growing businesses themselves.
Yeah.
So I think from my experience, the first big step for business is getting it started. So the entrepreneur and making sales, and then kind of filling it all in and trying to figure out what it is that you're doing because you don't have any idea. But then the next step is like getting that team going, and then once the team starts to go, it seems like there's this next jump that goes from maybe 5, 6, 10 staff to 20, 30, and there's this complexity that kind of hits. So what have you done, or what did you do to try to keep the core of the business intact as you guys went through that crazy growth?
I think it wasn't just me. I had some partners too, but I think the big thing is to stay true to your values. Like we were very focused on it was the people. It was always about the people, and that meant your clients, your customers, as well as your own staff. And probably I would suggest your staff are even more important than your clients, because ultimately it's your staff who satisfy your clients.
Right.
So if that's your philosophy, to really remember that, do whatever you have to do to keep that in front of your mind, because as you start to grow, bureaucracy just happens, and it has to happen, because as you have more and more people with their fingers in the pie, you have to put rules and things in place to control things.
Right.
So it's natural and it's not bad, but it's very easy as you get more and more bureaucratic, I think, to lose focus or shift away from your value proposition, and that's part. I think if I looked honestly in the past, that's part of where I ended up starting to be less happy. It was not just my job function, but it was also a case of the bottom line seemed to be becoming more and more important than the people that we dealt with, and I think that's where folks who are really stressed in their job, if they looked at it, it's probably because their own personal values and the corporate values aren't necessarily aligned anymore. And that just eats at you. Yeah,
it's interesting you say that too, because like one of our core values is take action, discover solutions. And I was just talking to one of our team members today about how it's going to be ever more hard and ever more difficult to keep that value true as we grow from, last year we were 15, now we're 26. Next year I'm assuming we'll be close to 35 people. Like, it's crazy. So that idea, and then a lot of people I've also talked to don't even have their values defined. So it kind of seems like from that answer, the first step is really getting back and defining those value systems.
I think that's crucial. And typically it's the entrepreneur type person who is making this happen, because you're the one who's been passionate about what you do, and you start growing this business. So that individual or group of individuals, I think, really has to be crystal clear on what it's about. And it can't be about this is the product or this is the service. It's why do you make that product, or why do you offer that service?
Cool.
More than the actual item. Like in my own world now, in the real estate world, you just do the right thing for your people, and you're going to be successful. And I think the agents who don't run it as a business, there's lots of folks who they're going deal to deal, and they don't consider it a business. There's not budgets, there's not planning, and so that's a big problem in my current industry. But the ones who are focusing on that paycheck and that commission, they're the ones that end up giving us a bad name. The folks who truly serve their clients and try and help them the best they can, whether you end up doing a deal or not, that fills your pocket in the end, because it just creates business opportunities. And I'm a big believer in that. You always do what's best for the person, and it's going to serve you ultimately. I've been in Rotary for most of my adult life, and anybody who's a Rotarian will recognize it. They call it the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And frankly, if when you're making a decision, if you can answer yes to those 4 questions,
you're good to go.
You're good to go. And that might not be the best thing for the bottom line in your business today.
Right.
But ultimately, you do the right thing, and you're going to do fine.
Well, it's really interesting to bring that up. There's I think it's I'm gonna totally mess this up, but I think it's called CVS Pharmaceutical Pharmacy
in the States.
Yep. And recently they decided to take all cigarettes for sale out of their pharmacies.
Okay.
Because it wasn't in line with their values to help people live healthier lives. And it cost them billions.
Yeah.
But then they had the biggest growth in sales in 12 months they've ever had after they took that hit. Not only because, well, they were staying true to their values, but they were really trying to make sure that they were true to their customer.
Yeah.
So I think that's, on the micro level, that idea of, the four-way decision-making and working in, real estate, which sometimes has a bad name because people don't necessarily look at it as business, to this giant business doing the same thing and having the same kind of impact. That's cool.
Yeah.
So then, and that kind of leads that Rotary piece, segues perfectly into this next piece. We've gotten to know each other over the years, pretty much from being out in the community and being involved, and people might call it giving back, and I don't know, whatever.
We've met at the odd event.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, in all honesty, you've been to more events than me in the last 5-10 years, which is kind of astounding because I've been to a lot of them.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about why that philosophy exists and why you get so involved?
I think there's multiple angles to that, Rob. One is purely selfish. We enjoy this stuff. Does that need you got something, battery or whatever?
Oh, we're good.
Oh, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a flashing thing on the screen.
Battery's low, but we're still recording.
Okay, good. And I just enjoy that stuff. I'm a people person. I enjoy being out in these events and whatnot. So, it's just, I find it fun. My wife and I were both professionals in the community, and we just feel very strongly that we've been blessed. We're doing fine, and I think it's really important that you support the community that supports you. It's just that's part of that values proposition again. That it's just you need to, and that doesn't mean everybody has to be going to these events. It means, I think, you need to figure out what's important to you, and that might be kids' sports, and you coach a team, or it could be 100 different things. But you just need to get involved in something that you're passionate about, and it's going to change. The level of involvement will change throughout your life, because I get it. You have young kids at home and stuff like that. Things change, and you might have to back off some of that for a while.
Yeah.
You're going through that right now, no doubt, and sometimes probably have to make some tough decisions.
Well, they're easy decisions.
Yeah. Well,
you just don't want to make them.
Yeah. Sometimes you do things for a business reason. There are things that I or my wife and I will go to because we've had the discussion. This is a good one to be at, to be seen at, to mingle with these people, and you do it from this is part of
strategic business decision.
Yeah, part of how I run my business is through networking.
Yeah,
and it's a strategic activity. It's not just going to breakfast and handing out cards. That's not networking. No, getting to know people and getting them to know you and liking and trust you. That's strategic networking. So yeah, it's kind of all of that jumbled together. Now we've got a little bit more mercenary about what we go to. There was a period of time where on a given weekend we might be at 5 or 6 events. There'd be nights where we were at,
in 2 days.
Yeah, there'd be things nights where we'd be at 3 things. It'd be an afternoon, I don't know, thing at somebody's garden party.
Yeah.
And then you go off to the dinner with these folks over here, and then you go to this event that night. And we did that for years. Now we're getting older, so we're slowing down on that a little bit. And now we tend to go to ones that we just really enjoy or are passionate about the cause.
Right.
Still support some of the other things, and because you can always stroke a check, or you can volunteer your time, or
sure.
The old adage of time, talent, or treasure. If you don't have the cash to support, maybe you can volunteer a little time or give a little bit of your expertise or something. So there's ways of serving your community.
Well, I think when you mentioned it, there was one piece in there that really kind of struck a chord for me, and kind of the way you described it is very much how we operate as an organization. So, picking strategic events to go to, having a lot of fun going out there, building relationships with people, it's very similar, right? But recently someone asked me, like, why do you guys give back so much? And I really it kind of caught me off guard, because I don't see it as that. Yeah. We see it more like get involved, and it kind of comes back. Sorry, what's that?
It's part of an investment.
Yeah, when it's like, if you want something to be better, our philosophy is go make it better and have some fun. Like, we just did leadership lunch. I'm not sure if you heard about that event.
I wasn't invited. No, I wasn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're killing me. But you'll have to come. But people were like, why? This is a really cool idea, and there's nothing like this in Kitchener-Waterloo, and they're like, well, why did you guys start this? It's because it didn't exist here. Yeah. So just go out and make that dent in the universe, and get involved and make it happen. So that's cool. Live
your life good. Have a set of values. I think, and wrap it up that way, is decide what your values are, and live your life that way, and that's the key to happiness.
And that's beautiful philosophy. I mean, we just got words of wisdom from David Hall as the key to happiness.
Write that down.
But I think it's worth it, though, because a lot of people I talk to think about this idea of they have a work face, and then they got a home face, they got a friend's face, they've got all these different people and characters that they are in different situations. And actually, I feel like we've almost been groomed to kind of be like that during school, to say, you got to go be your work self, and then you got to be your home self. But I think it's a bunch of garbage.
That's a lot of work.
And yeah, exactly.
My memory's not good enough to figure out what I said to who, if I'm changing things all the time. Yeah. So it's, I know that sometimes people are like, I can't believe you said that. And it's kind of, it's who I am. I try not to be offensive.
Try not to be.
But even when I do say something that's slightly off color, people know that I'm a harmless old dude, and it was meant in a good place. So even on occasion, if I say something that's that would be off color or whatever, folks, it's not meant intentionally to be harmful.
And you're authentic.
It's just who I am. Yeah. You don't see me in ties and stuff very much, and
sweet hats and shoes though.
Yeah, I got some cool shit. Didn't wear my cool shirt today. I wasn't thinking when I got dressed.
I'm going to do I Am in a Boat come this summer. So June, July, August.
All right.
So I'll hit you up.
Perfect.
All right.
I'm in.
Thanks for doing this, David. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Bye.
Thanks, David.
You got it. Fun.